Snow rattled against the high windows of the Callahan ranch house as the wind prowled outside like a starving wolf. The winter storm had rolled in faster than anyone expected, swallowing the plains in a white roaring blur. Inside, lantern light trembled over wooden walls, casting soft gold onto the woman curled on the old leather couch. Her hands wrapped around a steaming... She wasn't drinking. Mara hadn't slept in 2 days. Not really. Every few minutes her eyes slid closed, only to snap open again, as if some instinct deep inside refused to let her rest. She kept glancing toward the front door, as though expecting it to blow open on its own. The fire hissed behind the grate, but its warmth hardly touched her. The storm outside was loud, yes. It wasn't the noise that frightened her. It was the silence between. The moments when she could almost hear his breathing again, or the lack of it. The man upstairs. The rancher she was praying would survive the night. Elias Callahan. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Quiet, the kind of man the land itself seemed to obey. He'd found her 3 weeks ago, wandering near the ridge, half-frozen, desperate, and terrified. He'd taken her in without asking for anything in return. He never asked questions. He only made sure she had what she needed. Food, shelter, warm clothes. And 3 times a day, without fail, he checked on her quietly. Gently, like he knew she was running from something that might still be following. Save me. 3 times a day, she had begged him on that first night, her voice shaking so badly she could hardly speak. She didn't even know why she said that, only that fear crawled under her skin like fire. She just needed someone to remind her she wasn't alone anymore. Elias had nodded with that steady, unbothered calm of his and said, 3 times a day, then. Morning, noon, and night. I'll be here? And he was. Every single day, until this one. A crash thundered from upstairs. Mara jolted upright, a mug clattering to the floor, hot liquid splashing across the rug. She didn't feel the burn she was already running. Her breath stung in her throat as she grabbed the banister and sprinted up the old wooden staircase, taking 2 steps at a time. Heart hammering so hard she almost couldn't hear the wind anymore, but she heard the second. Crash, then silence. Her worst fear. Elias. She choked, pushing open his bedroom door so hard it slammed into the wall behind it. The room smelled of cold air. Sweat and faint wood oil. Elias lay crumpled beside the bed, one arm twisted under him, the other reaching toward the nightstand where a half-filled water glass rested, untouched. His chest rose shallowly. His skin was pale to pale for a man who spent every daylight hour under the sun. Elias. No, come on, Mara whispered, kneeling beside him. Her hands shook as she touched his face. His skin was cold. Not frozen, but close. Too close. He'd been hiding how bad he'd gotten. She'd known he was exhausted. Anyone could see it, but she didn't know it had reached this point. She didn't know it was her fault. The doctor had warned him a week ago not to push himself, not to ride out into the cold for extra chores, not to stress his lungs after that fall from the horse last month, not to work from dawn to dusk, then still come to her 3 times every day with that steady, reassuring voice. But he kept doing it. He kept his promise, even when it broke him. Elias, she whispered again, brushing back his sweat-soaked hair. Open your eyes. Come on, please. Shh. His eyelids fluttered barely. Mara. His voice was a dry rasp, a sound that shouldn't have belonged to a man so strong. You awake? I heard you fall, she said, her voice cracking. You shouldn't have gotten up. Why didn't you call me? He gave a weak, crooked smile. You asked me to check in on you. Her throat tightened. Painfully. You can't, she started, but emotion choked the rest. You don't have to keep doing that. Not when you're like this. I promised, he breathed. Morning. Noon. Night. She grabbed his hand and pressed it against her chest. You promised to be here. And you can't do that if you die on me. He blinked slowly, as though her words took time to reach him. Snow rattled against the window. The wind howled. The lantern on the dresser flickered hard enough to throw their shadows in long, thin lines across the floor. She needed to get him warm. She needed to get him breathing better. She needed to get him help. But the storm would kill anyone who stepped outside. "Okay," she murmured, swallowing hard. "I'm going to get you up. Can you help me? Can you move at all, Gunna?" Try. He tried. He failed. His knees buckled before he even lifted himself halfway. Mara threw her shoulder under his arm and strained against his weight. He wasn't just tall. He was solid, powerful, all muscle and bone. With her small frame, she could barely shift him an inch, but she didn't give up. It took everything she had, every trembling muscle, every desperate breath, but slowly, painfully. She dragged him across the wooden floor, inch by inch, until she hoisted him onto the bed. He collapsed into the mattress, chest heaving. Face tight with pain, she pulled the blankets over him, piling everyone she could find. Tucking them around his shoulders, his breathing remained shallow. "Too shallow, Elias," she whispered, sliding onto the edge of the bed, brushing her fingers over his forehead. "Tell me what hurts." "Just tired," he murmured, his voice fading. "Didn't sleep last night. Was up. Keeping watch." She froze. "Keeping watch?" she echoed. "For you." His eyes opened just enough to meet hers. "Storm like this brings out the wrong kind of people, drifters, thieves, men who see a lone ranch and think it's easy pickings." Her heart twisted painfully. He'd stayed awake all night. For her, Elias drew in a jagged breath. "Didn't want you scared. Didn't want you alone." Her throat closed. "Elias, you can't keep destroying yourself just to keep me safe." He gave a faint smile. "If it keeps you breathing, I'll do it." Her vision blurred. She pressed her palm over his heart, feeling the weak, uneven beats. "No, not if it kills you. I didn't ask for this. You asked me." His voice faded. 3 times a day?" She leaned down, forehead touching his. "Then I'm changing it. Right now." He exhaled a soft, broken breath. "Can't change a promise." "Yes," she whispered fiercely, cupping his face. "When it's killing you, I can." His eyes opened fully for the first time since she found him. Storm-gray. Steady. "Even now, Mara," he breathed. "What are you running from?" She froze. The words slammed into her like a thrown rope. He'd never asked before, never pushed, never made her explain the bruises she had when he found her, or the way she jolted awake screaming, or why she couldn't sleep unless she heard his footsteps 3 times. A day reminding her someone safe was nearby. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Her voice cracked. "Someone who said he'd find me. Someone who said no one would believe me. Someone who's still out there." Elias's jaw tightened weakly beneath her hands. "You're safe here." "Wait." "No," she whispered. "Not if you're dying." As if the storm outside wanted to answer her, a thunderous boom shook the house. Not lightning, not sky. This was closer, grounded, heavy, a door, the barn door, slamming open against the wind. Mara shot to her feet. Elias tried to rise, but he couldn't. His arm gave out. His breath hitched. His strength was gone. "Mara," he croaked. "Don't." But she was already moving, because she knew that sound. She'd heard it before. She sprinted to the window, overlooking the yard. Snow blurred everything, but she saw a shape, a human silhouette, tall, broad, walking toward the house with a slow, confident stride. Her blood turned to ice. He found her. How? How had he dashed? No, not now. Not with Elias lying helpless upstairs, barely breathing. Her hands shook violently as she grabbed Elias's rifle from the wall, the weight almost too much for her arms. She clutched it to her chest. Backing away from the window, footsteps crunched. Outside the door, the handle twisted. Elias's voice echoed weakly from the upstairs hall. "Marana." She didn't run. She lifted the rifle. Her heart pounded like a drum. In a funeral march, the door creaked open, and the cold rushed in.